Hello and welcome to First Encounter with Uncanny Valley. This is Mirrorg, and with me is Ben of Scanline Media. Hi, Ben.
Hey there.
Okay, so Uncanny Valley is a bit of a indie horror game, a bit on the shorter side with a larger narrative focus, and we're just gonna dive in from the start of it. We've both played this. Like I did like 2 playthroughs, or rather 1.5 playthrough, and you did like 2 playthroughs, I think.
Yeah. The second one kind of went a bit weird because I was purposefully trying to break it, but it didn't seem to be actually breaking in the way that I thought, so kind of had to abandon that playthrough.
Yeah. So this is like a quick tutorial. This game isn't like the best from a technical aspect. That they fixed a lot of bugs, but still kind of like the execution of the game is a bit, I don't know, like rough around the edges.
Did they ever add the controller support? Because I remember when I started it for the first time, it was like, please disconnect your controller because we had to take this part out, and as soon as I did that, the game crashed.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether they fixed it. I'm just like playing this on the keyboard because I don't want to risk it. I did manage to kind of conflict the game a few times and brute crash it.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's like, it has good ideas. It's just like, oh god, the execution is a bit not good.
Yeah.
Okay, so
particularly when you're advancing dialogue, the dialogue boxes are so short that you have to just keep hammering the button.
yeah, actually, here I'm gonna show my biggest problem with the game, which just drove me crazy. If you run, after a while, you can't run anymore. And then when you start running, you just like have these like short bursts. And when that happens, my PC starts beeping because of sticky keys, which I disabled, but it refuses to just register it.
Oh jeez.
So when I'm running from crap, it's just like, yep, I just keep getting DOS-styled peeps.
That's really obnoxious.
It's really obnoxious, and especially because there are a lot of running scenes.
Oh yeah, particularly the beginning.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have those. Oh god, now it's peeping again. No, I'm getting chased by phantoms. And I can't run because I'm peeping. So this is my experience with the game. God. Oh god. Just run, just call the elevator.
So have you ever actually outrun them before?
Yeah, I have. You can outrun them at the start. There we go. God, they're chasing me. Of course you live in the last damn door of the floor. This is as far as you can outrun them. And then shit hits the fan. No. And that's where Uncanny Valley starts.
Yep.
It's like, this looks like a very trippy Silent Hill type of approach, but it's actually a very mundane story just enveloped in trippiness. And that's like, oh god, there's also a thing, like sometimes dialogues just stand here while you go, nope, I don't care about your dialogues, I'm just going away.
Yeah, and how the game saved icon is kind of stuck into a particular part of the environment, so as soon as you move away, you see the text flying away.
Yeah. There's the article. Oh yeah, we're playing Tom, and Tom is out here at the middle of bloody nowhere. Oh, we can actually go in here. In the middle of bloody nowhere to get a job as a night guard. And as we all know, in all horror games, night guards have a great time.
And your coworker's kind of an ass.
Yeah, he is. He's like the kind of guy you'd see on Reddit or Twitter. I'm gonna just demonstrate one thing though, that this game does cool. So we can go in the car, or we can just go, nope, I don't wanna go in the car, I'm gonna explore video games. But if you go back here, they kind of react of you be acting like a stupid person.
Huh.
And there are a lot of moments in the game where it does that, like the game just reacting to you, acting like a video game character rather than a person.
Yeah.
Although sometimes it goes really horribly wrong.
Oh yeah. Did you ever try stealing the car?
Oh yeah, that's when I did that, and the game kind of conflicted several ending timelines and just crashed on me.
Oh jeez.
Because like several alternate endings converged in one, and the game just broke and crashed.
It kind of caused a singularity.
Yeah, it was so odd because characters were referencing events that didn't happen, and characters were saying things that they shouldn't have been saying, and it just like all converged into one and just crashed. The game was just, no, I don't know what to do anymore.
Oh man, that's a shame.
Yeah. But yeah, well, like, this is essentially just a multiple playthrough game, and they tell you outright, as you see at the start of the game, it just, yeah, you have to play this game a few thousand times if you want to see everything it has to offer.
Yeah, even just reading all of the entries, like, you have a very specific time frame every night, and there's so many different diary entries that you don't have enough time to just read them all in the first playthrough.
Yeah. In addition to that, it's if you miss certain events, or there are a lot of nightmare sequences like the one in the prologue, if you mess them up, you kind of go to different outcomes.
That's a very Silent Hill sort of touch.
It is.
It also reminded me a lot of Lone Survivor, at least stylistically.
That's one of the first things that came to mind when I played this, but Lone Survivor was a bit more like consistent in gameplay, as in you kind of knew how things work. Here it's just the first 2/3 of the game are just you walking around and exploring, and then when the part where you get a weapon happens, which is very late into the game, it just has completely different rules.
Yeah, and some playthroughs you won't even get a weapon. Like, it'll give you the weapon tutorial, but you'll never have a chance to use it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that never happened to me. Like, I had a chance to use it, but what happened to me was I didn't know how to reload. Like, I tried pressing R to reload and it just didn't work.
Ouch.
Oh, yeah, and then I just got curb stomped by evil things. One thing this has going for it, actually it's not. One thing also like Lone Survivor did for like better. Like Lone Survivor had these layers of rooms. So let's just say, like you go in here, and in Lone Survivor, left and right wouldn't change the perspective. As you see here, it changed because like this window was on the left side of the door, and so when we went through this door, it changes perspective from left to right. And that kind of confused me in a few parts in this game, because it just told me, oh, you have to get to the room next to this room, and I just got the room wrong because it keeps changing perspective as you go into layers. Well, in Lone Survivor, the direction was usually consistent.
Yeah, getting 2D, within the 2D perspective, it seems like it's pretty difficult to build rooms so that everyone's perspective matches up, and
yeah,
and this one just kind of struggles with that pretty often.
Have you played the first Clock Tower for the Super Nintendo?
No, but I've watched it.
That one I think handles it pretty well, because you're always kind of sure what's where. Yeah. It's not that you get lost because it's a big place. You don't get lost because you're confused what's left or what's right.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, so now we have to go to our apartment, and oh god, these woods are the scariest thing ever. I think that's like a very good transition, because I always was worried, okay, something's gonna attack and eat me here. It just build up until that happens. So yeah, we're in this building because like nobody lives in this desolate place except us, Buck, and this person.
How much are we gonna? Do you plan on spoiling exactly in this? Because there's a specific issue regarding this character that I'm not sure whether we want to talk about or not.
Well, I'd like try to just like talk about things we've seen so far in the game. Like I'm okay for like referencing, oh, the combat layer is a bit crap and stuff, but I wouldn't like spoil plot yet.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, I think I know what kind of concerns you have with this character. See, like 7th room on the left. Yeah. So one of the things you need to do is here is every night you're doing the night shift, and there's a specific time until your shift ends. And oh god, which floor were we? First floor. If you take too long on your shift after your shift's done, your character just collapses and goes into a nightmare from exhaustion. I think like you can get coffee or some stuff to extend the time, but I have never been able to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, I've never managed to do that either.
Yeah. One thing I do appreciate this game for doing is it's kind of consistent in the things it places. So let's just say later on I need to go to one of these rooms, specific rooms. I can do that more or less right now if I knew what was there from my previous playthroughs.
Yeah. It kind of has a Groundhog Day loop in that regard.
Yeah.
Like you'll see where certain characters emerge from, and you keep that in mind for next time.
Yeah. Also, this is one thing that also bugs me. So we have the flashlight on, and then you go through, and no, flashlight isn't on anymore.
Oh yeah.
That bugs me. That's like super annoying.
I get it turning temporarily off when you're running because there's no way to keep it straight, but yeah,
and making lightning effects for that and a 2D engine like this would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Also, one thing I've also noticed is a video game thing. So this is the girls' bathroom. Why are female bathrooms always so fucking creepy? Look, it has the light flickering. I have never played a horror game with a female bathroom that wasn't scary.
And why are people putting tapes in the bathroom, like leaving critical tapes in the bathroom?
That's like, Bioshock did it, now we all do it. So that's Buck. I had this very odd bug at one point where Buck was standing here talking to me, and Buck was also calling me on the radio from the apartments. So I had like 2 Bucks at once talking to me. And the trippy thing is, I forgot that this guy's name was Buck, so I thought like Buck was an overseer or something of the area. And I thought, oh, is there a 3rd character? Or a 4th character? So trippy.
No one wants 2 Bucks.
Yeah. So yeah, essentially, we just go around and explore stuff. Like, it's like, this is very hard to talk about in a first impressions video because the next like an hour is just you walking around and exploring things.
Yeah, it's pretty much getting you into a groove where to kind of get you familiar with the environment, so when things go wrong, you have a bigger reaction to it.
Yeah. So this is now like an audio log you found, but it's not subtitled, and it's the only voice acted thing in this game, and it's a bit of a cop-out that that's the only voice acted one. Which is like, I won't explain why, but like later in the story, like this is referenced in a way that your character would know, but there was no way you would have known as a player. Yeah. Because everything else is in text.
The tapes are the best part of one of the best parts of the game, in my opinion, because the voice delivery is kind of perfect, and what they're talking about is incredibly creepy, and it leaves enough to the imagination where, when you're thinking about it, you could make your own conclusions, and those conclusions are usually not very pleasant.
Yeah, I do like the whole way you're going through all these logs. Like, one thing they're kind of consistent with is you have the received emails and sent emails. You can kind of figure out who was where, which is relevant for some puzzles. I do think the writing's fine. I do think, like, it does a lot to build the atmosphere. But it's like, oh, I'm exploring all these computers, reading these things, and then all of a sudden, whoop, well, my shift's done, I better go home. So it's like you never have enough time to actually take in everything, because obviously you're not on a 6-hour shift here. You're here for 6 minutes or something. See, we have like 2 minutes left, so that's 2 minutes of exploration left.
Yeah, and also your guy never seems to wake up during the day after the intro. Like, he's always waking up right as his shift starts.
Yeah. So it would be cool if you could like wake up earlier and just explore a bit more of the area. But this is kind of all there is to it. You're basically in this facility and in that building. Those are the only things that matter here. But yeah, like, as you read further in this, I'm kind of like skimming obviously through this, because it's something like you have to take in. I don't think like us reading this or making examples of it benefits the game. But this is essentially a medical facility, and obviously, since it's a horror game and it's a medical research facility, there are some creepy things going on. Oh, yeah, okay, I think, like, now that people kind of get what you do in this game, like, we've demonstrated that you're basically searching through, like, various floors going on patrol, and then the game throws a curveball at you, like, oh, like, at one point the generator breaks down and you have to repair the generator and do stuff like that. I think we can kind of, like, talk a bit more on the spoilery stuff, so if you people don't want to have the story spoiled, you can, like, skip this part.
Okay, so, have you ever actually managed to fix the generator?
I have, actually, because believe it or not, the puzzle they use is something we kind of, like, use frequently in hidden object games when we make them. Like, not frequently, like, we used to use it a lot, but then we stopped because it was just too easy at some point for players.
See,
but
I was a gigantic dum-dum with this puzzle, and I kept messing it up, and one of the characters paid dearly for that every time.
Yeah. I'm not sure what this is for. Yeah, I never could figure out how to play this game. Let's just exit. Like that, like I figured out how to do that puzzle, and it does, like, it helps Buck then like you more, and that has some other effects in the game later.
Yeah.
So what was your, like, issue with Eve? Oh, here, my shift's over.
My issue with Eve is that you're basically talking to her throughout the game in person, and you're hearing and then when you're listening to tapes, you hear this female voice, and you don't really make any connection. And then when you suddenly get the whole revelation that, oh, Eve is the same person that is on these tapes, you can't make that. You were never given the chance to make that connection yourself, because every time you talk to her, it's through text only.
Yeah, that's literally what I referenced. That was, like, a big cop-out for me, too. Like, oh, surprise, but, like, technically it wouldn't be a surprise for my character. Unless Eve's voice module was changed or something.
Yeah, that's a very good point, but even then you're not really given a chance to wonder
make
about
the
that.
connection.
Yeah.
I mean, the only connection you can make is, like, oh, Eve's female, and it's a female voice on the tape, so obviously that's connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I really like this more than a bunch of other horror indie games I've played. And I don't mean, like, the first person Slender crap. I mean, like, have you seen Home?
Oh yeah, I've played Home before.
I really didn't like Home.
Too ambiguous?
And I think that, not just too, like, it's like, not too ambiguous, it's just, there's no real risk or fear in it. And it doesn't do a good job of making an atmosphere. that gives you fear despite not having a risk. It just like I just didn't enjoy it because of that. And then the story wasn't anything special. It was like, oh, this is standard, you know, redemption guilt thing.
See, I kind of enjoyed it a little bit more, but I think that's because I had a problem with how little they said in some way.
Yeah. Also, God, the shifts in resolution in this game really bugged me.
I never actually noticed that. But I see what you're talking about now.
So if you like wait for that guy to follow you, you actually save him.
Oh, you can actually save him?
Yeah, it counts as you saving him. You even get an achievement for that. So yeah, this is like one of the like first breaking points where you can just say, like, oh, meet me on the second floor, first door on the left. I actually thought this was in this building, so I wasted a lot of time trying to find her in the actual building instead of the medical facility.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't really make it clear that she wants to meet you on the job site.
Yeah, I just figured, oh, like, maybe I have to choose between going to my job and meeting her or something. Yeah, like, I don't know, like, I really... I enjoy the idea of this game and I enjoy what it's doing. I'm just not a big fan of the technical execution of it.
Yeah.
I was a bit surprised with how the story goes. Like, not in the, like, oh, big twist, this is what's actually going on. It's just that it keeps giving this hint of supernatural in his dreams, but then it turns out, oh, it's like just him being very trippy.
Yeah. There's also this whole element of surprise when you come back to it a second time and you try something else, even though you're already prepared for things changing. It kind of throws you off just how much it can change sometimes.
Yeah. I do like, though, that they went out of their way to do things like... okay, like Buck always complains. But if you ignore certain people, like just say, oh, I'm gonna walk away, whatever, in the middle of conversation, they actually react to that. And it actually affects the plot. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort to actually make that work. And... might be a reason why this game kind of breaks up a bit. There's another thing that bugged me. I'm just gonna explain this. So, but it's more than like I didn't get used to the game's way of thinking. So here you talk to Eve, and she's like, "Oh, how's it going? How are you? Was it fun or whatever?" And at one point, she asks you, "Why don't you stay a bit here?" The thing was, I went a bit right. And the game interpreted that as you don't want to stay. I didn't like even leave the room. What you have to do is actually go left so it will interpret as you wanting to stay there.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's a bit like weird. Because like, I went slightly to the right and then left and then interpreted, no, you want to leave. Okay, bye. And I didn't know that until I read later on the forums that you can actually stay with her.
There's definitely elements of... with specifically... 2D adventure style indie games, there's often elements where you can accidentally trick the AI like that or not understand what they're trying to get along with it. Like, I've been playing Techno Babylon recently, and there's one sequence where it gives you 3 different options to get into this specific club. And once I ended up doing one of the options, I accidentally went back outside and did a second one, and it basically overrode each option and changed the way the bouncer was approaching me. And I got all 3 achievements for each 3 method.
Wow. Yeah.
And
I mean, that can happen with a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that happens a lot with 2D adventures.
Yeah. And that game's great. It's just really jarring to have something like that happen.
Yeah, so so she asks you here, oh, you sure you don't want to stay a bit longer? And so if you go left... See, I guess I could stay a little longer. He says that right away, whereas I could have gone left for any reason. But if I went, like, what I did was I stood here, and I went slightly right towards her, and then the game interpreted that as, oh, you don't want to stay here. So it's like a bit abstract. Like, I can get the logic behind it, it's just that it's very contextual, and I don't think, like, any player would get it.
Yeah.
like you're expecting the player to stand in a very specific point when he's like talking, and because the text goes so slow, I'm constantly doing this. Like, yeah, sure, and that's like one of the reasons why I actually didn't stay here. Just like, oh, I moved actually.
Whoops.
I'm gonna do this again sometime. Oh, did I actually overwrite my decision? Oh, I might have actually overwritten my decision now by going left and right constantly. Because I know you can like stay with her here. Yeah, I'll just like stay here, relax a bit. And the arcade stops working for some reason.
Yeah. Not that I know anything about making games, but it seems like the sort of thing where a little bit more testing might have solved this, or just seeing how other people run through it. I
think this game needed like to be good to be paced through another month of playtesting. Like they did say they went through playtesting, but a lot of things I just found out by like I don't break. I try to break certain games. Like I try to break Dark Souls or Souls games when I play them. I don't try to break adventure games. But here it just kept happening.
Yeah.
Like just sequence breaking it by accident.
Yes.
But otherwise, like I don't know, I'm so conflicted because I really like the idea of it. I like a lot of stuff it tries to do. I'm just like sad it doesn't do a lot of them very well.
Yeah, there's definitely some very neat parts of it and some very anger-inducing parts of it.
Yeah, like the way shooting works is just so insane. And I think like if you press pause, it just gives you a list of controls. And I just wanted, God, please let me rebind. I never use shift for sprint just to avoid these kind of things. And no, this right now is on my new PC. I think like I tried this on my old PC and I had the same result. It's just like run, and then no, I want to run a bit more. And where's the beeping? It's gonna happen soon.
See, I never had anything like that happen for me, but I'm not sure.
Oh, it stopped, thank God.
Oh,
nope, there it is. There we go. It's just like this. It's just like so infuriating because there are a lot of chase scenes here. But like there's, like I said, it has a lot of good ideas. There's this one part, which might be the next nightmare sequence. I'm not sure. When you're at the bar, and if you buy at least one drink, then later you can be accused of having been too drunk during certain events, which is kind of like a cool idea. Like, oh, if I hadn't drunk, they wouldn't have accused me of that. See, like we were here for like what 2 minutes, and then she didn't react to that, which is really odd, because as I demonstrated earlier, characters usually react to you acting weirdly around them. Which I guess is like a fault of the system, because if you have that kind of system, then you have to take into account every eventuality, and obviously they didn't take into account, oh, maybe after someone said I'm not gonna stay here anymore, they actually just did stay there regardless.
Yeah.
Which is a thing that might have been like figured out during playtesting. I work with playtesting a lot because of our games, and really, if you want to test something properly, if you have people dedicated as testers, you have to go through every eventuality. And if you have people just like trying your game out, then they have to give you your general impression. And I just find it hard that people didn't play through this and notice these kind of things.
Yeah, it's really obnoxious.
Yeah. So I don't know, like I'd still recommend this over Home, because like I said, I really didn't like Home. But if you want 2D horror games, there are a lot of good ones as well, which aren't. This is pretty ambitious. The other ones aren't as ambitious, but which might be good because then they figured out their constraints, like Lone Survivors like that. And there's also Claire, which I haven't played, but I've seen playthroughs of it, which also seems really cool. Have you seen that one?
Claire?
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen that one. Name sounds familiar, but
it's on Steam. It's also a 2D horror game, and it reminds me a lot of Lone Survivor, but generally because it just has that kind of format. Should finish. When are you gonna collapse, Tom? I want to demonstrate that part. The part of Tom collapsing and going into a nightmare.
He went to nightmare even when I went to sleep in bed.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the penalty of this happening is.
Oh, and also, if you want a 2D game that has as much open storytelling as home, Elegy for a Dead World is pretty cool.
Oh god, Elegy for the World is so good. I actually did a video on that one.
Nice.
It's a really good game. I really liked it. So you can like buy a drink here, but we're not gonna buy a drink because we don't want to be drunkards. You can also like bug people here, like go away.
Yeah, this part is kind of silly in a way and lighthearted in a fun way. Is there any change if you are actually buying drinks and using up your money?
There is. Like, oh, I gave this. See, I kind of like gave him $3 and he was like, "Fuck you, I'm hungry." Like, what? Is $3 not enough? Here. Nope, he doesn't care. See, this is the kind of thing. Like, the game makes you expect like there will be something for every eventuality, and then it's like there's nothing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, here I have that. $14 should be enough, and then you get chased by stuff and you hear peeping. There is a change though. Like if you don't drink, then I think the police doesn't accuse you of having drunk too much when you explain what happened.
Ah.
So yeah, like those all things are obviously flashbacks, if that wasn't apparent, because Tom already mentioned that he was running away from crap. But yeah, like I'm not gonna film more because we've already spent half an hour on this. Essentially, this is a very flawed game with some very interesting ideas. If you're the kind of person who wants to see interesting ideas, I do suggest kind of check it out or check a playthrough of it. But if you're not interested, if you're interested in just, oh, I just want a good 2D horror game, there are games that aren't as ambitious but still manage to do a lot of things within their constraints. Like I never got scared or worried or, well, I got this mildly discomfort at some events in this game, but I never got like scared or worried or whatever. I was mostly just frustrated with it because of the controls and because of the bugs and because of the singularities converging and the game crashing.
Yeah, I got startled at a few points, but that seemed more due to jump scares than anything else.
I mostly got worried because when the enemies do show up, I just didn't know how to deal with them. And then when I figured out how to deal with them, I was just like, oh god, this is extremely exploitative. This is making the game too easy. Because I figured out some kind of glitch, exploit, whatever, and it just made me skip almost every enemy.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Uncanny Valley. You can check it out at the link below. Ben, thank you for helping me powering through this because Johnny, as always, is afraid of horror games.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. And see y'all later. Bye.
Bye.